Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Committee of the Whole meeting at Suez Town Council, Tuesday, February the 10th, 2026 at 9 a.m. in Council Chambers. So I will look for an approval of the agenda, and I don't think there are any late items. No, thank you. Welcome. You just made it on time. Could we have a motion, please? Councillor King, Councillor Chong, all in favor. Thank you. And the adoption of some minutes. That would be the Committee of the Whole minutes of January the 27th. Could we have a motion to adopt those, please? Councillor Chong, Councillor Bennett, all in favor. Thank you. And so first up today, we have a presentation and the Transportation Master Plan. And I will turn it over to Director Madsen to introduce our guests. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. This presentation is an update to Council and the public for the Transportation Master Plan and the engagement process associated with that. And I'd like to introduce Cameron Noonan and Burnell Higgs? Yes, sorry. Of Urban Systems to present to Council.
Thank you very much for coming today, and I'm just going to turn it over to you. You have a presentation that you're going to show and speak to. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, Mayor and Council. Thank you, Tyler, for that introduction. I'm Cameron Noonan. I'm a transportation planner with Urban Systems and joined here by my colleague, Bridget Burnell Higgs. So if we kind of jump in, got a short presentation for you today on the Transportation Master Plan and Road Condition Assessment, starting with a brief overview of the project and some of our progress to date and timeline moving forward. We'll talk a little bit about our upcoming engagement, and then hoping to leave the balance of the time for discussion and questions and input from Council. So starting with that project overview, as we set out, what we heard from town staff is that your community is growing, and also that annual influx of visitors every summer puts strain on your transportation network. There are evolving community objectives around accessibility, age-friendly community, and climate action, and just generally encouraging other means of getting around town. But at the same time, there's also a need to understand your renewal obligations of your existing assets before getting too far down the road for planning for major expansions or increasing service levels. There is quite a bit of existing work already established, so we don't have to start from scratch through things like your 2023 Active Transportation Plan, your recently updated OCP, recently updated DCC program. So there is a strong starting point, but maybe an opportunity to bring all of those documents together into a coherent or consistent strategic plan, covering all modes of transportation, service or programs, as well as infrastructure. And also a need to make sure all of that is grounded in community input, in input from you, Council, the public, staff, key partner organizations, to make sure that the plan is supportable and ultimately useful over its lifespan.
Can you move your microphone?
Sorry.
Just wondering if Myers could hear us.
I don't know. He just got up.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh. Apologies about that.
But mainly that we're speaking into this.
Apologies about that. So I was just speaking briefly about the objectives of the project. Kind of just we can move on to the next slide. The TMP will serve as a long-term guide for the planning and prioritization of transportation investments, both in infrastructure, but also programs and policies, driving towards key outcomes like safety, accessibility, and climate action. This is an overview of our timeline. This is the first time we're coming to you today, but we've actually been working on the project since August. We were in the field doing traffic data collection, and that was a key requirement to make sure that our data collection was reflecting that peak summertime season. We were also in town doing some field investigations, site visits, and then also doing the data collection for the road condition assessment. So through the fall, we completed what we call our existing conditions assessment. And now kind of in winter, moving into the spring, we're moving into our first public engagement, starting with talking to you this morning, and then going to launch into public engagement coming up at the end of the week. Looking to do public engagement in the next few weeks, which I'll speak to in a little bit. And then also sort of as we move into the spring, getting into our future needs assessment. So that will be looking at modeling future transportation demand, coming up with required projects to serve that demand, going through prioritization and developing the draft plan itself. Hoping to have that plan, the draft plan ready to share back with council around June, and then wrap up kind of moving more towards later into the summer, and then perhaps with some amending bylaw updates into next year. So just this next section is talk a little bit about the work that we've done to date. Starting with the road condition assessment, which was a key component of the work led by our partners at Tetra Tech. And that involved really kind of high resolution through 3D scanning of your entire road network, assessing its condition. And assessing the road networks, pathways, and sidewalks. And we also captured an inventory of all of your roadways, your roadside signs. And this is, there's plenty more information that we'll be sharing as we go along, but just at a high level snapshot of the condition of your road network in 2025. About 2/3 of it is in what we call good to fair condition, and so that leaves about 1/3 in the poor, very to poor, or very poor condition. Kind of looking at the map, one thing to flag here, looking at some of the roads that are highlighted in red on this map. Some of them are already flagged in your capital plan. So roads like Kingfisher, Harbor Key, 92nd Avenue are certainly known to staff before this, and are in fact kind of already slated for reconstruction in the near term. So this represents the current state of your network, and as we go forward, we'll be working with town staff to try and find a balance, find a level of investment in renewal that is sustainable for the town over the long term, that can try and maintain or improve the condition of this network over time, but also balance that with your other objectives over the long term.
Excuse me, Cameron, can I jump in? I just wondered, you've got 5 categories here, and I'm wondering how do you figure out the difference between a fair and a poor, or a fair and a satisfactory? Are there some criteria that are used to make that judgment?
So this, Your Worship, this represents the what's called the Pavement Condition Index, and it is a standardized approach that's common, kind of like a consistent approach for municipalities throughout North America, and measures things like the quite detailed into like the depth of cracking, the percentage of the road segment that has a cracked surface, the depth of wheel ruts. It is quite a comprehensive and objective measurement of pavement quality.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess I could go back one slide. I mean, we're mainly talking roads, but it also does sidewalks, or so how does it do it when there's so many cars, say, parked on the main road? How does it see the sidewalk?
Oh, through the chair. So sidewalks were assessed manually, like essentially by walking the sidewalks, essentially, and a visual inspection of the sidewalks. So that's that was the road condition assessment. And then we've also been assessing the existing state from other angles, looking at things like doing traffic counts in August, considering the safety history, looking through the ICBC data and the safety record, building up, mapping out your existing infrastructure, the networks, both your road network, your biking network, cycling network, transit, and kind of building up that inventory of key issues, which we'll kind of go through, highlight a few of them on the next couple slides here. So starting off with the road network, one of the main things that came up through the site visits was and a look at the safety data, was around road safety. Certainly in the busy in that busy summer season, there can be some pretty significant waits to turn on to major roads, to turn onto the highway, and some inadequate sight lines, which can lead to some maybe more dangerous turning maneuvers and poor outcomes there. We did also note some inconsistent signage throughout the community, kind of likely built up over time, but kind of that inconsistent signage that can maybe be a little bit ambiguous at times and might be leading to some poor safety outcomes. And then finally, some call it non-standard intersections, things like 89th and 62nd or Oleander Lobelia, that might not be immediately clear, particularly to visitors to your community, how to navigate those intersections safely. So could be addressed in the future. Moving on to active transportation and transit, the bike network as it exists today is relatively limited. You do have some key links established through pathways, like shared walking and biking pathways, like the Pioneer Walkway, like the pathway along Lakeshore Drive. Those can and will be the spine of your cycling network, but there are still gaps, places where those pathways don't quite connect to each other, which can make them harder for people to use. And then on sidewalks, kind of it can be a little bit hit or miss. Some limited sidewalks can be a little more limited outside of the town center and in East Osoyoos in particular. And then also we noted a few crosswalks that could likely warrant some enhanced levels of treatment, particularly on Highway 3. For your transit system, it's also currently relatively limited and geared towards, I would say, either working or appointments in Penticton. It would be the primary purpose of those 2 trips to and from Penticton on weekdays and no service on weekends. It would be relatively difficult to use it for a trip within to make a trip within Osoyoos. The fact that there's currently no service to your high school, for instance, appears to be a bit of an opportunity there. And also finally on accessibility, kind of a few places where we noted despite the efforts that you clearly have been making towards accessibility, a few places, things like missing curb ramps at crosswalks, that can kind of hinder the ability for people with mobility challenges to get around. And also, I should say, a wider range of folks as well. Moving on to the town center, I already spoke about kind of on Main Street and that busy summer season, the long waits to turn out of side streets as a challenge that we've noted earlier. The angle parking on Main Street, which I know has been a topic of discussion for the community for some time. certainly has its benefits. It's easier to pull in and there you can fit more cars per block, certainly. But there are some drawbacks and it generally does lead to more collisions as vehicles are backing out into traffic. Another thing we noted is the situation with boat trailer parking and having the main boat launch on the west side of the lake and the main boat trailer parking on the east side of the lake. That might seem like more of a parks and recreation issue or maybe a small thing, but in kind of doing it is from a transportation perspective, it is unfortunate that anyone going to drop off a trailer is traveling through the most constrained, the most congested part of your network. And that might be adding, say, 200 to 400 trips to the busiest part of your network on peak days, which is actually not an insignificant increase in volume. Yeah, and then I already touched on accessibility. There's clearly the town has made strides towards that through some of the changes that were made to Main Street, I think around like 2017, but still a few gaps to be filled, particularly off Main Street. So that was just a brief overview of some of the work that we've been doing to date, and now talk about upcoming engagement. So the primary focus, we're calling this issues and opportunities. So the primary focus of this is trying to hear from the community, their concerns, like how they're trying to understand how they currently get around town, how they might like to in the future, some of the barriers that they see to using other modes of transportation. We are going to be promoting this through launching a project website on, I believe it's Friday, the 13th. Launching a project website to promote the project. There'll be a community survey and also an interactive map activity where residents can basically add a pin on a map and flag transportation issues for us. We're also going to be doing a in-person pop-up event on the 18th, so next Wednesday, at the Sonora Center. And we're still working through the times for that, but we'll be promoting that in our kind of news release coming out later this week. And would appreciate it if council could share that through their networks as well. And so we will be, as I kind of laid out earlier, we will be taking all of this feedback into working on creating the draft plan through till June, where we will be planning on bringing the draft plan to council for your consideration at that time. So that is all I had. It's enough of me talking. Now we want to hear from council. We have a couple prompting questions here that are adapted from our public survey to get the conversation started, but certainly happy then to open it up for whatever questions you have.
Thank you very much. And that's very helpful. I see that 2 last pages are questions that and certainly that I've looked through them and checked it off myself, but I'll have to wait for the next meeting next week. I certainly think that you've given us something to think about, and we're happy that you're on board with getting public involvement right away. So I'll just see if anybody has any questions. Anybody? Council, anybody have any questions? We're good on this. So Gerald, do you have any time about when it might be on the 18th? Do we know that yet?
I think Madam Mayor, Sarah booked that this morning, is that correct? Yeah, at 1 o'clock on the 18th.
So it's 1 o'clock on, okay. And you will both be there? Bridget and Cameron. Oh, Bridget, okay. And so 1 PM on the 18th. And are you there for 2 hours or something or? Sure, thank you.
Probably longer, until maybe about 4:35. Yeah.
Okay, so let's put sort of 1 to 4 on there. And will it be okay, got it. Will it be upstairs in room 4-5?
The main lobby, I believe.
Oh, in the lobby.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not taking pickleball time away, are we? Thank you, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do have a question. We have an accessibility and age-friendly committee. And a lot of times we share, excuse me, we share information in terms of what our community has, needs, etc. We do have a website or a survey on our website. But if you do have questions related to accessibility and if it's at all possible to share with the committee, you might be able to get a little bit more feedback from them. They live it every day and they bring those ideas forward. So that would be really appreciated.
Did somebody else have a question? No? No? No, not Myers? Okay, well, we really appreciate you taking the time to come down today and talk to us. And we look forward to seeing you, Bridget, next week. And then you're planning to do another one after somewhere in June, once you come back with one. Okay, well, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate it. All right, we will, do we need to make a motion to, what did it say here? Council receive the report and presentation. Do we need to make a motion to deal with that? Could we, Councillor Chong, Councillor King, all in favor? Thank you very much. All right, next we have the Resort Municipality Initiative Park Upgrades. That would be Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before the committee, we just wanted to go through some of the resort municipality initiatives that we are planning to do this year. We do have some of these in motion and more so to get some direction from council in terms of, timelines and placements, etc. In 2025, we did receive the new Resort Municipality Initiative for the next 3 years. And there are several items to be completed this year. And we just, as I had said, wanted to get some direction on a couple of things, including the swim platforms, our bike service stations, and fitness equipment. The swim platforms we have in our budget for $200,000. It's similar to the one that we put at Gyro Beach last year. And the 3 options that we have were at Legion, Lions, and Cottonwood. Most likely looking at Legion and Lions, as Cottonwood is very shallow, but we didn't want to take it off the radar because there still might be some way to do that in a safe, less liable way. The bike service stations, in 2025, we had a $20,000 budget. And this year coming up, we have another 20,000. It is part of the active transportation plan, as we just found out. And we do have one right now on 85th Street Plaza. It does get used quite a bit, and it is something that is beneficial for sure. We did purchase 4 new ones in 2025. And looking at the locations for those for this upcoming year, for Pioneer, Cottonwood, Canal Trail, and Goodman. And we're looking at purchasing 3 more for this year from the remaining 20,000. There could be a little extra funding needed for placement. Some of these will be placed on just a flat surface, but some may need concrete laid. And of course, the fitness equipment. So we had a budget of 50,000 for 2026 and another 50,000 for next year. We do have a few quotes. I have included a few pictures later on in the presentation of what that would look like. And depending on the outcome of our parks master plan, we may want to, just depend on how that unfolds, hopefully in the next month or so. we may want to wait and then just get a better indication or better picture of that. I just wanted to put a map here to show where we were talking about putting these items. It's a little less convoluted than the active transportation plan, but it still gives you an idea of where things would go. I do believe the bike service stations would be covering the most important areas. But as it was mentioned earlier, there are quite a few gaps in keeping that connected, especially for the bike traffic. The other items on here in terms of the swim platforms, those are our main beaches, and obviously if we can get those put in place, it would be a good addition, especially for this upcoming year.
Excuse me, Director Davis, can I just ask, are the swim platforms, do they need to be removed in the wintertime? I wasn't sure. Can they just be pulled up on the beach, or just to protect them? Because I know the last one was that we took out was damaged.
Yeah,
So-
I do believe that the new ones that we get can be kept in year round. Tyler, if you want to say anything about that, but I think that's one of the robust things about them. Yeah.
Even through ice and that kind of thing. Okay, great, thanks.
So just in terms of a discussion, just wanted to get some direction from the committee for the placement of the swim platforms, the bike service stations, and the fitness equipment. You know, the committee could choose a location for each piece of the equipment listed. The committee don't want to provide any information at this time and just let staff or administration go ahead and do what they think is best. Or the committee could recommend other suitable locations if there's items they think that are not included or could be better situated, or that the committee wait until the parks master plan is completed to provide input into the parks upgrades. Of course, as stated earlier, I wanted the committee provide direction for the placement of the swim platforms on the bike service stations and the fitness equipment. And hopefully we can get some tree pruning there in the park. And there, I just want to have some questions and discussion.
Thank you very much. Would you like to come and sit up here, please? Because I think we might have some questions for you, Sarah. Thank you. I think that that we should personally talk about this now. Some of the things can be done, certainly right now. I had a question about the gym equipment, the outdoor fitness. If we put it in wherever it was we decided, and the parks master plan came up, and some of those things could be decided, but they may not happen for a while. We don't know because everything takes time. Is it possible to take the equipment and move it? How easy would that be? Or is it once it's there, it's sort of there and it's hard to move?
I think the items that we have are not, it wouldn't be that easy to do that. They would be cemented in the ground, unless Sarah has something else that was different. Again, and just to be clear, the Parks Master Plan, the main focus of that was for Gyro Park. So there is definitely recommendations for certain things like the fitness equipment, but it is a little bit flexible for sure. But just to be safe and to be sure, if we were recommending, a multi-piece of equipment along the walkway behind Watermark, or on the other side, another multi-piece of equipment between Gyro and the marina, there are benefits to those in terms of you got a linear pathway connecting, people walk, jog, run. You could have two different stations with different pieces of multi-use equipment. Obviously, the biggest thing and one of the things to look for is, especially in the summertime, would be shade. And depending on how that's located there, there could be some spots better than others. But if we put it in a place, and originally when we talked about this, it was going to be for Pioneer Walkway. One of the reasons is that we had talked about just doing single pieces of equipment, which had a much smaller footprint. But even doing that there, and Sarah can attest that this is, it's probably not, the best in terms of it be a little bit too crowded. It is quite busy there in a walking trail, a biking trail, dogs. So it could be a little bit different there. Not saying that it wouldn't never happen, because I still like that area. But yeah, so.
Okay, thanks. Did you have a question?
Yeah,
Because I'll
thank you,
jump
Matt.
in again if,
I guess with your bike service stations, do you have a rough idea, if you look at the canal trail, where you would put it?
Um, most of the bike service stations would be placed strategically in terms of at the start of the trail, over by not by the sign, maybe by the parking lot. It doesn't take up a large space, but it should be visible and it should be in a place where, people know where they are. The good thing about this particular program is that you can actually go on an app and it'll tell you where any of those are. So if we had 7 places in town, you can go out and see exactly where they're located, but not just here, anywhere else that they have those similar units.
I definitely support the idea of having these around town. I'm just curious, like how many ride bikes to these parks they're talking about putting them at? Don't they usually walk around the park?
Wouldn't be just for bikes, the scooters for sure. We all love the scooters, the ones that go 100 miles an hour, and some of them got wings and jet fuel, and they're very safe. But yeah, we do get quite a bit, and as part of the active transportation plan, the previous in 2023, there was quite an influx, and it was something that was identified. Unless that changed overnight, but yeah, I know what you mean in terms of a pathway as opposed to a park. The gaps that we have, especially that were just mentioned before. But I can see that being still beneficial.
we're going to ask the bike specialist, Myers. Myers, did you want to weigh in on this?
I just think the bike service stations, I think, Gerald, where they are in the parks, being in the middle, a lot of people with our cactus or with the flat tires and stuff, I think they're in good locations because if you're riding from point A to point B, they're kind of strategically located where you're going to get a flat tire halfway in between point A and point B. And at least you can get some air there or you can fix a flat tire. So I think they actually looked, when I looked just now, I think they look really good.
So you're in agreement with the suggested places to put them?
Yeah, unless Johnny might think of one up at Strawberry Creek or something I haven't thought of, but
Councillor Poderica, then Councillor Chong.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just with regards to the Canal Trail one, and just because you brought the comment about cactus and perhaps moving that to the north at Highway 3 and 87, where the two cross near the tunnel there. Only because if we're getting bike riders that are, let's say, coming in off of the Strawberry Creek area into town, or those are actually coming in off Highway 3 in transit, as well as those near 97. I'm just wondering that might be a better location there, just because if you're there, you're kind of stranded till you either get into town and roll into town there. That might help. Kind of, I think there's a bench in that right in that corner on the north edge of the tunnel, maybe perhaps relocate
Yeah,
them out
I
there.
think that would be a good compromise. Again, if we felt, the need to put more, and we may be able to put 4 out there, but I think that would work well. There's just not a lot, up in that area, especially by Desert Park and the golf course. Trying to stretch it a little bit further, but if people can go on or know ahead of time where they are, especially locals, but if you're a tourist in town, you come and you see on an app, well, ooh, I got a flat. Because you probably wouldn't strategize that before you go. You're going to do it when you got your bottle of wine and your cheese and crackers and your flat tire, and then you're just running to get to the station. So I think that would be a good compromise, and it's probably a good area there. Even if we put some signage up at the head of the trail to say, because we still have some options to do that for trail markers, especially.
I do support having them at the parks. As someone who had to carry my daughter's bike about 2K, um, it would have been very nice if there were those stations. And really, it's not just the performance biking population or even just leisure. It's everyone who has a bike. So I think having them at the parks is easy to identify and it's easy access, and we can build that nascent bike kind of trail. So it makes sense.
And I agree as well, because that's town property. So it's easy to put it on town property and not on somebody else's. I'm just wondering if the visitor center might be another spot to put one. I don't know. It's just thought, you know what, a lot of people might stop in there and possibly on bikes. So maybe not this time, but you said you had about 3 more spots, and maybe that could. I'm going back to the fitness equipment for a second. I'm just wondering, I know that we've looked at some possible scenarios for Gyro Beach area, but if there was a fitness center north of that, sort of on the bit towards the marina, and one in front of Watermark, that might not have any bearing on what goes on at Gyro. So they might be fine if they were both those spaces. We still have Gyro and the configuration there to deal with. So I'm definitely in favor of supporting all of these things the way it's laid out. So I'll just let everybody else have a go at this too.
Yeah,
Jim.
I'll go back to my comment about Canal Trail. I support your first idea up by the school at the start of the trail. I'm just a little more nervous about vandalism. We're talking about Highway 3 there.
I guess that could be an issue there, Madam Mayor, to Councillor King. Especially being a little bit more isolated, less activity. But that trail gets used quite a bit, especially the high school kids I know take it a lot. And we do get some comments from people just visiting saying how wonderful some of the trail system are, especially it's lit at night and all that fun stuff. Yeah, I guess that could be an issue, but I think because of where it's located, or if it was even, as Councillor Poderica said, that might be a better location even for that purpose, for vandalism, because it is a little bit more visible on the highway, but also closer to the visitor center as well. And it could be something that we share with them for sure, to say, hey, this is as part of our mapping that we do for trails and just getting around town, to saying that we have these bike stations. I think that would be a good idea. Yeah.
I presume none of this will start till we see the Parks Master Plan.
We could actually put the bike service stations in place now. I have talked with operations, Mark, and the 4 that we have now, because we have them, we can get those put up, and they're fairly, simple to put in, just surface mounted. And yeah, I think waiting for the final Parks Master Plan for the fitness equipment might be just a little bit more strategic approach.
Okay, and and the swim platforms. So we've got the swim platforms and the bike service stations. Is everybody in agreement? Oh, sorry, Myers, did you have a concern about that? I'm sorry, your hand was up.
I just have one more comment. I think the people using the bike trails now don't all just park up at the high school. There's a lot of people park up by JF's and start up at that corner. Other people park by the airport. Other people are parking up beside on 115th down past Jim's place. And also people are parking at that section where Gerald just said that the access to the golf course off Highway 3. So there's a lot more used from all different locations, not just from up in the high school parking.
Okay, thank you. Those, you did say that we have 4 to put in now, and we are buying another 3. So we've certainly got some suggestions to put the other 3. Was there? Go ahead.
Thank you. In terms of the fitness equipment, the different rigs that were presented in the report, I'm assuming there's a price difference, because some are a little more ample than the others.
Yes, that is correct. What we have shown there, though, does fit the budget that we have. I guess another option is if we, I don't know why I do this to give myself more work, but if we didn't do anything this year in terms of the fitness equipment, then we, instead of just having 50 this year, 50 next year, we had the 100, and we did maybe a larger area in one park, 4 or 5 pieces, or 3 or 4 pieces, or a multi-use with a couple of other additions. At the end of the day, none of this stuff is, what it used to be 10 years ago in terms of price. But that is definitely another option. I would like to ask Sarah, though. I know
I would too.
she has been working on this, and I think Sarah's recommendation was to, on the trail behind Watermark and by White Sands. And I think, in terms of what we had talked about, the linear trail access, and really what was included in here, it does fit in terms of accessibility. Somebody in a wheelchair can wheel into some of these areas, still get a workout. It is definitely for somebody who's wants a challenging workout, a younger person, or a senior who wants a challenging workout as well. We get a lot of people coming into the gym, that do that, and I think it would suit their needs. So,
Mrs. Dennison, would you like to fill us in?
Absolutely. So the units that were picked out were picked out because multiple people can work out at the same time. And those were kind of our biggest bang for the buck, so to speak. That's not to say that they do have other options, so we can get smaller units, multiple of them. So you have more units. It's just they don't necessarily have the accessibility issue or component. They're fitting 2 or 3 people or even one person at a time. So you're spreading out your footprint, so to speak. When we're looking at the linear space, we don't have a ton of space to begin with. So that's why the decision to get those one unit with multiple users at one time. And then, having it on either side of the walkway, one on the south side, one on the north side, you're adding in a cardio component to a workout as well. That was the reasoning behind it.
Thank you. Councillor King.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we know how this equipment stands up in the winter?
My understanding is it holds up pretty well. There's 2 companies or 3 companies that were recommended that we looked at. They've been putting in equipment all through British Columbia, Alberta. As far as I know, there hasn't been any issues. In talking to the town of Oliver, because they do have fitness equipment as well, they haven't had any issues as far as I'm aware. So, yeah.
Go ahead, Councillor Poderica.
Thank you, Rich. I support the idea of, kind of spacing out the equipment and hopefully over time spacing out in other parks that we maybe don't have other amenities where we look at a traditional playground might be too expensive, but maybe this is a good option moving forward. I'm thinking places like Goodman Park, especially when we have a lot of consistent pedestrian traffic that kind of walks, along the pathways between Pioneer, Conwood, and then down in towards Lakeshore Drive, especially with the weather that we've been having lately. So I, support obviously the locations presented now and moving forward, maybe looking at expanding that scope moving forward. I do like the idea of having the multiple units or the multifunction units, just to kind of give you some option variety there. So there is something there, and it's a good, social opportunity as well as people are stopping there. Just wondering, looking at timing, if it's possible for us even to move forward, even just, to order those pieces in advance in preparation. Hopefully by then gives us some time to identify where our locations are, that we will establish them and keeping in mind the master park or the parks master plan, but you know, I'm okay with us, you know, maybe relocating them outside of that scope if that's the case, just to allow us to benefit from not repeating ourselves in the past of playing catch up on RMI, using RMI funds at the last minute. And
Yeah,
I'm not sure the time. Sorry, I'm just not sure the time frame for obtaining this equipment.
one of the goals bringing this forward at this time is to make sure that we are on top of it, that we can move ahead and, you know, so we are not doing that by the end of 2027 in terms of we have X number of dollars to spend, otherwise we may lose it. And that would never happen. But I do agree it is something we could, depending right now with our purchasing policy, these units at 50,000 plus. We may have to do a little bit more administrative work than we need to, but we do have some equipment, and I would like to go back to discuss the swim platforms. Tyler just brought up a very good point about using a procurement service that is already, you know, we're getting the best value, best price, a company that we have used in the past by Canoe or with Canoe. And that's how we got our last swim platforms, and that's how we're moving forward with this one. So yes, we can do that for sure. And at the end of the day, it would be really nice if we had some of this stuff done by May long weekend this year. That was the goal as well. Might be a little bit tight in bringing this forward, but you know, that was the intention. So hopefully that answered your question. I would like to talk about the swim platforms. So there was 3 different areas. We do have one now at Gyro. But the one at Gyro was, or seems to be, a lot smaller than it was in years past. And it is robust. It can stay in year round because it is a much better equipment. I guess another option would be to make the platform at Gyro a little bit larger, so to make it a bigger area there, and you know, do another one at Legion. Legion is a very good one because we had one there in the past as well, and it did get used. We had the accessibility committee wanted input in terms of if we're going to replace something there. Well, the accessibility committee had discussed, you know, making sure if we put one back there that it is more accessible. They did look at the one that was placed at Gyro, and we did make a few changes, additions for that purpose. But I think it would work well for Gyro. It is our main beach. It's, you know, we are going to be doing a lot of improvements in the next couple of years there as per the Parks Master Plan and the RMI funding. So that would make sense to me as well.
Could the one that's down there now be added on to? Is that a possibility, or do you have to put in a new one?
It was purchased as like modular units, so we can add on to it as time goes on.
So I think that's a good idea, actually. Go ahead, Councillor King.
Just to follow up on Director Davis's points, I would much prefer having Gyro Beach built upon in terms of the swim platform, but also Legion Beach is an ideal location. And then as we do get more RMI funding, then we can start to expand more swim platforms. Also with the going back to the fitness equipment, in terms of location, we also have to be cognizant that we don't want it to be close to anywhere that is too heavily trafficked, because you know, people working out, there's an element of, you know, you want to have some privacy, right? It can be a sensitive situation. But with the proposed location by the Watermark, my concern is, you know, is the equipment floodproof? I'm seeing that there's some chin-up bars. I'm assuming we're going to be putting some rubberized impact flooring under it. So is that floodproof? Because we've seen it in 2017, 2018, and that can do an incredible amount of damage. And then also like in terms of some of the attachments and how suitable they are for a demographic, I mean, the Thrive 450 one checks all the boxes. We don't really need the slam ball target because then someone has to bring a slam ball, but you know, we just leave it. And my question is like with the knee lift dip station, the cushions, are they fabric or are they vinyl? Because you know, the sun here is quite powerful. So are we going to have to swap those pads out every year? Yeah, so and also I was reading that it also there is an option for integrated shading as well for this setup. So that's something that, you know, if there aren't any nearby trees or natural shading, you know, two birds, one stone. And the other kind of concern is not really a concern, but if there's a private trainer who would like to use this equipment for their own like boot camps and whatnot, you know, that's creating wear and tear on the equipment. Like, how do we monitor that? Like, are we charging use, but it's public? So there's just a few things to consider as well.
Did you have anything to add to that? Director Davis?
Excuse me, Madam Mayor. No, just very, very good points, obviously. As I said before, the outdoor fitness equipment is very robust. All the mechanical parts are enclosed. It is protected from the weather. I have no idea about flooding. It's obviously something that we need to consider, and it is a very good point. But for just the general use, anybody, you know, would want to use it. I get it. We've had people who use the park for, you know, sessions, workout type stuff and all that in the past. Some people have actually paid and booked for the time to do that, but anybody can go and use it just as a, you know, general use. But we for sure wouldn't want to have somebody running a boot camp there along the trail and using the equipment for a couple hours and not letting anybody else have that access. So it would be something that we would monitor, I guess.
I was also wondering if we were able to put one in, say for 50, this year, would it make more sense for a little more privacy to have it between Gyro and the marina, that section first? Number one, it's up higher, so we don't have to worry about floods. Although this year we may be worried about the opposite, droughts, but rather than having it in front of Watermark where sometimes they hold weddings and everything else down there. So I wondered if we were to do one, would that be a better spot to start off with? That's all.
And also have to consider the proximity to other parks that are more geared towards children. With fitness equipment, I'm assuming there's going to be signage saying you have to be a minimum age to use or have to have parental supervision. And my concern is if it's too close to, you know, a kid's park, guess what's going to happen? The kids are going to run over because they don't know the difference, right? And you know, so this equipment isn't exactly age appropriate for anyone who's basically like under 12-ish. So there's that to consider as well. And really like this equipment is very robust. I remember back when I was living in Greater Toronto area, one of the parks had very similar equipment and we have crazy winters. It held up. It was great. Yeah, so just a few things.
Go ahead, Councillor King.
Yeah, I also can support the idea of expanding Gyro Beach and Legion Beach for the platforms. And the comment about maybe this equipment more towards the sailing club does make a lot more sense than at the other end where there's more, like you said, things happening at Watermark.
So we need to make some decisions here, and there have been several different options that have been provided for us. So we could look at option number one, that we are providing direction on this. And is there any of the other things that we want to say, or are we going to just say that the committee provided direction on the placement of swim platforms, bike service stations, and fitness equipment. And does that give you enough information, Director Davis, when the conversation that we've had? Or did you need something more specific?
No, I think that would work. There are definitely items that we can take off the table. I do believe the swim platforms, expanding gyro and Legion Beach. I think if we're in agreement with that, that would be a really good thing. So that would be something that we could do.
Is everybody in agreement with that? Myers, are you okay with that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so that one sounds like it's good. So Legion Beach plus expansion at Gyro. Okay.
The other one in terms of the bike service stations, if we move forward with the 4 different ones that were listed for this year, the ones that we have purchased, would be a good thing. The other 3, if need be, we could identify at the other parks, which I have listed as well. I think that as they spread out are good, with the exception that instead of Canal Trail, we would put it up closer to Highway 3 under the overpass there, as Councillor Potterica had said. And that would be something that we can do and have in place fairly soon.
So that would be Kinsman, Lyons, the Canal Trail at the other end, and Goodman.
That
Those
is
are the
correct.
4?
Yeah.
Is everybody in agreement with those 4? Myers, are you okay with that? Okay. All right, thank you. And then the fitness equipment, that's the last one.
I think for the fitness equipment, maybe we can just wait a little bit. I would like to collaborate with Sarah, and I would also want to review some of the draft document that we have for our Parks Master Plan. If there's any indication there at all that, you know, some of these might be an issue, really looking at, you know, flooding, those kind of things, putting that all into perspective. I do like the idea of putting it, you know, between the gyro and the marina. There's probably a couple of good areas there that you can go off the pathway, you know, and we could probably get a better indication of exactly how we can do that. And following or during even our Parks Master Plan, hopefully, which we could have in place in the next month or so. Just depends on how we can pull all that together. We can probably unload that at the same time because it might make a little bit more sense. There may not be a lot of information in there related to that, but being close to gyro and having a pretty good indication of what's going to happen at gyro from that plan might be a better indication of how we can place it.
Go ahead, Councillor Kane.
I guess on the second picture you present here, there's no number on it. It looks like the big one. Do we know approximately the cost of that? It's the one below.
It was within budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
I support that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, is that costs including installation and the flooring and the specialized rubber surface that's required?
Sorry, I don't have the paperwork in front of me, so if I remember correctly, yes, that includes the installation as well. Because I did ask for numbers with the installation.
Yeah, that is right.
So, Director Davis, if we leave this for the time being and you come back with some more specific information, could it be brought up at the same time as when we're discussing the Parks Master Plan?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it could.
Yeah.
Well, I'm okay with that if that's, but I want those stations done. Director Davis, he's heard me talk about this since 2011. So he's getting tired of it. Yes.
Yeah, one last question. With this equipment, the surface underneath, is there an opportunity for a grant?
Like we've done in the past, the tire stewardship program, and the Cal Tire was a previous one that we had. Yeah, there is. We're in the process of looking at that as well for the splash park when we do the resurface there as well. We had a $50,000 budget there, and it's just in under budget. We have 2 different quotes, but and that is something they would like, or we would like to get, done before we actually open up this year. So it would be just a good timing.
Hep?
Yeah, one last. Would we be comfortable with ordering the equipment itself first? Because I mean, it seems like it's the Thrive 450 seems to be the best bang for your buck and has for maximum users. And then in terms of where the specific location, then we can decide that at a later date. I'm just thinking in terms of procurement timeline.
Can we get it and where would we store it? Is that a concern?
Yes and yes. We have a budget approved. It's in our budget. The quotes that we got are within that budget framework. And yes, I can't say where we would store it, but I could ask operations or Mr. Madsen or Director Madsen.
Depends how long we have to keep it for.
In talking to some of the representatives, my understanding is when we order it, they bring it up and install it. So I don't know if it's something that we can purchase and then store until we're ready to have it installed.
All
I'll
right.
have to clarify with them.
So for that part, then we're going to let you go ahead and come back with a better plan for that. So but I do agree, we should be purchasing it as soon as possible. Let's put it that way.
Questions. Thank you, Madam Mayor. What's the lead time on ordering this? Like if you ordered it next week, it's still 2 or 3 months down the road?
I'm not sure. I would have to double check with them. I think when I got the quotes, it was probably their quiet time because it was, October, November. Now they're gearing up for their busy time because we're getting into spring. So it would be something that I have to go back and
Yeah, I think that's something you should bring forward is what type of lead time they need, so we know.
We do have, most times it's 6 to 8 weeks. If it's a piece of equipment that's, on back order, or if it's unique to what we want, it's definitely longer, like 10 to 12 weeks for sure. But yeah, and the sooner we do it, the better. Yeah.
And the last thing, the purchasing policy, I mean, I do know that you use the RDOS purchasing agent who saves us money, basically, right? So all of these things then get run through him? Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, have we got enough information to go ahead with this then? All right. Well, it sounds, thank you very much. That was a good discussion about all of these things, so we appreciate it. All right, next is the Community Services Quarterly Report, as we had arranged to have it the last time, and Director Davis was sick, so we're asking him to do it today. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council. This is just our fourth quarter report from October the 1st to December 31st of 2025. Just to give you a couple of highlights, the reverse osmosis system at the Sunbull Arena was installed. This was part of the Fortis grant. The unit, we got something like 75%, or we'll get about 75% of the cost back. And with this, we're able to reduce our ice temperature, meaning that our plant would run less and we would actually make some savings. That was the whole purpose of the Fortis evaluation that we did. Public skating attendance has increased, and for the quarter we had over 2,000 participants, which was quite good. New programs included adult cooking classes and a science program for children. We organized several special events, including TGIF nights, Halloween Howl, Jingle Bell Run, and the Snowflake Skate, which is always a very popular family event. Fitness classes were very popular, including Walk Fit, which averaged 28 participants, and Groove It, which also averaged 28 participants per class. Drop-ins for the quarter was 781, and member check-ins were over 5,600. Both increased from the previous year. Kinsman Park playground equipment was completed along with new sliding entrance doors at the Sonora Community Center as a couple of capital upgrades. And just finally, we'd like to acknowledge Sue Terada for her dedication and commitment to the Accessibility and Age Friendly Committee. She's been involved with the committee since its inception. And we just want to, acknowledge her and the work that she's done, and we'll definitely miss her. She's going to stay involved somewhat, but she's been a good person to have on that committee for sure. And that's it.
Absolutely. Thank you. I just had a question. I see on the very last page, capital projects that we have, we have the big one on there that we've had on for a long time, Southeast Meadowlark Playground. So I drive by there quite often to check on the dirt piles and that type of thing. And I'm just wondering, are we working towards this initial irrigation design? Is that in the works now?
Yes, Madam Mayor. So there is an irrigation design completed.
Okay.
We have gone through everything that we need to in terms of planning with our design. And now we're just going to put it to paper and get it going.
Good.
Yes,
Could you let us know when you're going to do that? I
Yes,
think
for-
we'll all be there.
yes, for sure. And maybe we could have something a little bit more, I don't want to say as a big announcement, but it would be for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor King.
I guess with that park, don't we kind of have to wait to decide what we're going to put there before you put in the irrigation?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Well, if we're going to put maybe some play equipment in there, where do you decide where it goes against the irrigation?
That's why we did an irrigation plan. So we have the design done through True, and now we gave them that information. And the irrigation that we put in place is relative to the amount of grass, the trees, shrubs, that kind of stuff. So yes, it's all as a whole perspective.
I wouldn't put trees in. We're cutting back on water.
I will take that into consideration.
Going back to the reverse osmosis water filtration system. I'm having a difficult time trying to figure out how we are saving electricity by putting in that filtration, how does that affect the temperature of the ice? I don't catch the connection.
So normally, even with our treated water that we utilize to put on to flood the water when we use it through our Zamboni, all the impurities that are in the water still, they make their way up to the ice surface. And for us to keep that ice like how it should be and hard, we got to jack the temperature up. With less of those impurities, we can lower the temperature and have the ice better. And it actually has been working really well. It'll be good to see after this next quarter how much savings we had from the year before.
Thank you. That certainly makes sense. I'm assuming that they always talk about curling ice and how they have to make sure that it's well filtered. Am I correct? For the same reason. Okay, thank you very much. Is there anybody else had any questions of Mr. Davis? So do we need a motion to accept it? No, we do? Okay, could we have, thank you, Councillor King, Councillor Poderica, all in favor? Thank you very much. And I'm going to ask Mrs. Keith if she would just give us a little update on finances, only because we didn't have a quarterly report on that, and I think she was willing to do that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. What's customary is that the finance for the last quarter of the year be brought forward to be presented to council later on in the year, closer to March. The reason for this is as we get into January, we start prepping for our audit, where we bring in our auditors outside of the organization to review our books. It takes us a good 30 days at the beginning of the year just to close off our books as far as any last minute invoices that are coming in, any of our larger capital items, giving a chance for our contractors to put together their year end or their progress payments. So to bring a report earlier would really be misleading as far as we don't have final numbers at this time. Our focus right now is preparing for our audit. Our auditors are planned to come in mid-March. And if according to plan, they will generally be presenting to council May, June-ish on the year-end operations. In that time, March, I will be bringing forward other information, statistics that we often present in our quarterly findings.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We've had some questions about that, and that's why we added it on there. Now, if there's nothing else on the agenda, terminated 1 and 2, Councillor Poderica, Councillor King, all in